The National League is really the talk of the offseason. Why? Because Juan Soto is now in the National League East. And everybody keeps talking about how great Juan Soto is going to be in that lineup with Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. And a lot of Met fans say that this is murderer's row. That's what they say. This is our murderer's row. But the question is, where are the Mets getting their pitching? They lost, obviously, Frankie Montas. He's out for the season, it looks like. Minaya is not starting the season on the, he's on the injured reserve. So he's out. He's out for a significant amount of time. Where are they getting the pitching? They didn't bring in any pitchers really in the offseason. Now, I'm sorry, they did. They brought somebody. They brought a relief pitcher in Holmes from the New York Yankees, which they're moving into their rotation, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, hey, maybe Stern has an idea that he thinks that he can make Holmes one of those pitchers that he brought in last year. But again, I question the Mets' rotation and their defense. There's a lot of questions to the defensive side of the ball. Lindor's a shutdown defender. Pete Alonso is not a good defender. Soto is not a good defender. I mean, those are just two guys that are a part of that defense. Now, Nimmo has really transformed into, over the last couple of years into one of the better outfielders in baseball as far as defensively. But again, there's a lot of questions defensively with the New York Mets. And again, I like what they put together on their offensive side of the ball. I just don't know about the defensive side of the ball and their pitching. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, because I don't know how healthy the Braves are going to be this year. I think the Philadelphia Phillies are the most dangerous team in the National League East. I think, first of all, we all know this. Thompson is a great coach, very well coached. Bryce Harper, you got a tremendous Kyle Schwarber. They have a tremendous, tremendous team. Top talent from top to bottom on all their roster. So, and they have a good pitching staff. They brought in, like we said, they brought in a top pitcher who is obviously one of the more underrated pitchers, I think, in baseball, even though a lot of people think that he had a great season in Jordan Romano. I also think Zach Wheeler is one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball, too, because nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about Zach Wheeler, okay? Every year he's amongst the National League's best pitchers, but people forget. People forget that he's playing for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's a sensational pitcher. I think their rotation's great. I think their relief pitching has gotten better. Now, that I think is their weakness. I think that has been their weakness for a long, long time in Philadelphia. But if they can get this bullpen a little bit better, and maybe at the trade deadline and maybe a couple more pieces, this is as good a team right now in the National League as the Dodgers, the Padres, any of one, Arizona, any of these teams that everybody keeps thinking that could win a World Series this year. As far as the Nationals are an interesting team. They've got a bunch of youngsters. Jacob Young, one of them. They've got a bunch of young players. Luis Garcia Jr., they've got some good young players right now, and they're just going to grow into position.
Dylan Cruz.
Oh, yeah, Cruz too. I mean, they have a tremendous amount of young players coming up from their farm system. I think that the Nationals could be a surprise team. I think they win more games than they're expected. I really do. 72.5. I think they can win about 80 games this year. I think they have a bunch of young pitchers that are going to be called up this year. They have a great young outfield that we're going to get the chance to see this year. I think the Nationals are a lot better than people think they are. The team that I think is going to be really, really bad is the Marlins. They're really bad, okay? They're just absolutely terrible. I don't know what happened to this organization since Derek Jeter and Ng leaving and getting let go the way she did. I think this organization is completely tipping fast. So I don't know where they go in the next couple of years. They'll probably have the number one pick. Well, now they have a lottery, so they might not even get the number one pick. So baseball.
Who says the number one pick's going to want to sign there?
Again, we've seen that. We can ask the Mets because they lost a pitcher because of that.
Joining everyone else in Texas now.
Yeah, so the only thing that worries me about the Braves is their injury. They're very injury prone as an organization. They have some good youngsters that are going to be called up this year. They got two pitchers that the Braves organization think could be up by the end of the season. Spencer Strider is so very important to this rotation. If Spencer Strider stays healthy this year, he can absolutely in May. And Fish was talking to me offset, and he said, do you think Strider could win if he starts the season in May? Why couldn't he? If he wins 12 out of 12 out of 15 games, or he wins 14 out of 16 games, why couldn't he? He could absolutely, with a 1 point something ERA and a whip under one. I mean, absolutely could. And like Fish said, I didn't watch him a lot during spring training. He was unhittable. He was unhittable in spring training when he was pitching. So I'd like to see what Strider's going to be in May. I want to see if Ronald Acuna will be back on time. But everybody keeps saying that this team is going to win the division. I disagree. The Mets could surprise people because, hey, they can go after a pitcher at the trade deadline if they're right there in a mix with these two teams. I worry about the Mets pitching. I think their lineup will be good. I question Soto made the right decision not staying in the right New York, not with the Yankees and going to the Mets. We'll see. Only time will tell. But I think the team to watch right now in the National League East is the Philadelphia Phillies.